Hi class. So in today's demo, I'll be going over how to white balance your images. And I won't go through these super extensively because I want you to experiment with it. I don't want you to necessarily copy everything that I do. I still want to see your unique edits and see how you understand from the presentation and from looking at these different tools, how you edit your photos. So how you white balance your photos, how you color correct your photos, etc. So I already imported these into my Lightroom. You will do the same. So I'll go ahead and just give you an example. So when you download this zip file, it will be a zipped file, and then from there you'll just open it up. You might have to like right, depending on your software. For Macs, you'll just double click and it will open up into the folder, and then inside the folder there will be those images. For PC, you may have to uncompress the file or unzip the file, and then or you may have to extract the files, and then when you extract it by right clicking and finding extract files or uncompress or unzip, then from there will see the folder, and then you can import that into Lightroom. So I have put this uh, unzipped file on my desktop, and so it's just a folder now that has all the images in there. I'll go to import, and instead of going into your hard drive like usual, so remember this for the next step, when you go and import your photos again, you'll need to do that from your hard drive. But for this example, or any in-class examples, we'll be saving our images on our desktop, or you can save it to your downloads wherever you can access it. I think desktop is the easiest. And then for me, I went into Macintosh HD because I'm going into my computer. I went to users, to my username, into my desktop, and then now I see this folder here. Um, they have already been imported in, so that's why they're grayed out. But now you can see there are the three photos in the color correction demo. You'll copy them in, don't add them in. It might default to add because it's in the computer, but go ahead and make sure to copy it in because um, we're going to be putting it into your hard drive, right? From your Macintosh HD into your hard drive. So we want a copy. So then you can go ahead and import those as usual. So make sure you're importing it into your LR folder. So once you import them, they will be in your previous import. And then from there, I made a new collection by creating a collection. I called it white balance, or you can call it color correct. And then I put them in there. And so we can see the before. Oh no, sorry, we can't see the before and after because I already edited them. So these look a little bit different than how they did in the presentation because I went ahead and made some edits. So you can see if I select Y. Oh, also I should be in the develop module. So in the develop module, this is where we edit. I'm going to go ahead and hit Y. And now you can see the before and after of what I did. So I did these pretty quickly. I did a decent job. I could probably spend more time and even make these even better. But I know maybe this one didn't look as much of a difference, but when you compare it before and after, there is a difference there. So this image had a lot of warm orange sunlight, sunset golden hour light coming through. And then what I did is I played around with the white balance, the temp and tint. I added just a tiny bit of contrast because these are images found on the internet. I just thought they could use a little bit of contrast. I played with the tone curve, and then also this color mixer here. And some of them I also did play a little bit with some of the highlights and color grading. For color grading, I would say maybe not for this assignment, but definitely in your own images, play around with it. It's really just changing like the different colors. It's not like something you always need, but if you're trying to create like a certain mood or like color combination effect in your photos, again, maybe something you save for like later on when we're getting more developed into this class, you can definitely play around with it. So I think the biggest learning is just like playing around with these tools, having fun with it on your own time. I'm not really going to go into color grading for this specific this course, but it's there. Play around with it on your own photos and see what you like. But basically, you can select these different areas here. They all stand for shadows, midtones, highlights, and you're changing the colors of those. And then you can change all of them at once here. And I'll show you some of that, but I don't use it a lot because I like to keep my images as close to how they looked in person and just like changing the white balance to look like how it did in person as well. So this image, before and after, you can see it was a lot cooler. I tried to make it warmer, and I think I did a pretty good job. It's not so warm that it's like unrealistic, but I think with the environment, it's a lot warmer. I also upped the color and saturation in this flower here. And then this one, this image always comes out to look pretty intense, and I can't, it's just an image I pulled from online. So it just looks like very intense in terms of like the contrast and the quality compared to these two, which are a little bit like more natural looking. So yeah, but overall you can see this image had, and maybe that's why it's looking so intense and different, is because it had this really intense, and I'm going to say intense 5 more times, has this really intense green color cast. I couldn't avoid it. That's happening here, as you can see. And then I color corrected it. I tried to get this stone to be as close as what I would imagine it would look like. And it's also hard because we're not in these environments. We didn't take these photos. So it is a little bit harder to guess like what was the actual color of this stone, of this person. So I did enhance this dress. I enhanced the background. So I think this would be a good example to go into about how I did it. You can see that I did play with the highlights. I moved them a little bit more towards blue. I also played with like luminance a little bit. So yeah, so I'm gonna re-edit this image. So hopefully it's clear. This image, you'll want to make it like, so it's still warm, but like a little bit cooler, not so much of like this kind of uh, overall orange cast happening. And then this one on the right, just, I think they all look good with like a little bit of contrast, but feel free to play with these other, like, feel free to play with the tone, to play with all the different things here to make the image uniquely yours. And then same thing with this one, not so much heavy edits for this one. I did make this image a little bit warmer, and I used the white balance checker, or sorry, the white balance eyedropper to go ahead and, or white balance selector, but the white balance eyedropper to go and find a neutral area in my image. So I'll show you how to do that here. And you know what? I might show you just for all of them so you can get an idea. But what I'm going to do, because I edited this already, I'm going to right click and make create a virtual copy. So you can do this as well. When you start in, like, don't edit your photos yet, you could make, um, keep the 3 original photos in your collection, and then from there you could right click, create a virtual copy, and that's going to create another copy of your image. But as you can see, this image doesn't have any edits in my history, so it doesn't save. It basically like compresses your image, so all your history is gone, so you can't go back from that. But like, for example, if I wanted to edit this image and go from, like, let's say I printed this image out and it had like a red cast to it, too red, then I could make a virtual copy, and then on top of this, I could remove that red cast and see if the printed image comes up better. So this is a way that you can like add more effects on top of your image. You can make it even more cooler, or you can add on top of the edits that you already did. But you won't be able to see your history and you won't be able to go back. But what I can do is I can reset my settings, which is pretty cool. I didn't realize I would be able to do that until I tried. So yeah, I can reset my settings. So now we have the green image. So first things first, I will take the eyedropper and you can just click and grab it. So fun. Click, grab, move around. So fun. I really like this interactive thing. I think this is probably one of my favorite tools just because it's like really fun to pick up and grab. From there, you can see my navigator, all the different colors that I could possibly lean to. If I go to red, it will turn the image cyan. If I go to green, it will turn my image kind of purple. So I want to find a neutral area, and doesn't have to be white. So I would say that this image is, this stone is probably the neutralist area, most neutral area that I can find. And I want to try to make my neutral, like, you see all these different greens happening, all the different colors. I want to find it so it's like as solid as possible. That's just a personal preference so that it can select the right neutral. I just want it to be like as close, all the green squares as close as possible. I feel like we had a really good match earlier. Ooh, maybe like here is pretty okay. They're all kind of similar. Click, and look at that, before and after. Oh, sorry. The before is oh, this isn't that great of an example, but just imagine the before on the left would be the green. Um, yes, because we're editing on top of the green right now. So let's see. You know what? Let me do this differently. So I'm just going to reset these settings so you can actually see the proper before and after, and then this will be the edited version that we can go off of. All right, so reset the settings. Here we go. White balance checker. Find an area that looks pretty good in terms of all the tones of green. Good start. Now if I hit Y before and after, you can see the difference. And everything looks really dull. So I want to like enhance that. Now we've figured out the white balance with the white balance selector or eyedropper. From there, we can use temp and tint sliders. So if I want to make something more warm, I can change the temperature more towards yellow here. If I wanted to reduce the red, I could, or get rid of some of the red areas, I could move it out of the pink, and then it makes my image more green. Or I can make it more pink. I'm going to just reset that, so I'll double click on the arrow. And you know what? I think I did that wrong. So let's go back. All right, so this is with the white balance. When I reset it, it got me back to what the 0 mark would be. So I actually want to keep these settings because this is what the white balance already selected for me. So the white balance changed my my settings there. So let's try that again. So you can see. So right now everything temp and tint is at 0. So right when I click on the area that I want, now the temp and tint has been set. So I would like keep this as is, but if you feel like you need to move things around here, like maybe add a little bit more warmth, you're welcome to, but just know temp and tint sliders can have that capability. So either you're moving cooler or you're moving warmer. You're moving towards cooler or warmer in different respects here, green or pink. And then, you know what? I'll add a little bit of contrast just for fun. And now we're getting into the tone curve. So when you open the tone curve, it will most likely look like this on this setting. Again, we can collapse and bring down different elements in this develop module here by clicking the arrow. So I want you to actually go to, so like this adjustment, this would adjust just your lights, midtones, grays, etc. here, which is, that's something you can play around with. I'm going to go into my blue channel and I want to make things just a little bit warmer. So same thing, X and Y axes. I had mentioned this in another class, but actually it wasn't this one. So let me further explain. So curves, this works in an X and Y axis. So you find the center where X and Y meet, and then you can either bring it up or down. So you can actually use your up and down arrows, which is a great way to minimally add things instead of like dragging and just going straight down to here or straight up to here. It can get really dramatic really fast. So actually I'm just going to use my down arrow and you can see how I go down in little increments, just clicking away here. So yeah, that looks pretty okay. And then I just, you know what, let me reset this. I'm going to double click on it and now it's reset. And then I'm going to click in the middle of X and Y, and now let me bring this back in. So it's just really, really subtle. I'm just bringing it a little bit warmer. That looks pretty good. You could also go to green. Let's say I want to reduce green or add green. I could click in the middle of X and Y, and then with my arrows, I can add some more green. And you can see it gets really intense really fast. So I might just add a little bit of pink to neutralize it. It's kind of cold, but we'll go with that. You can also play with red and cyan here, depending on the image. And then we've got our color mixer. So here, you can choose between HSL, which is giving you hue, saturation, luminosity in every single color. This is a bit much for me to look at, so I like to look at it in color. It's the same thing. You're just choosing the color, and then you're choosing the hue, saturation, luminance of every color, just like more condensed, and I like to look at it this way. So for the red, actually, you know what? Green, maybe I think I want to intensify the green. So hue is literally going to change the hue, the color of the green, as we had learned. And then saturation is going to make those colors more intense or desaturated. So I'm going to actually just go for a little bit of that to make it pop. And then you can make it brighter or darker. And I might just add a little bit of luminance. So that's really only affecting this area. It didn't really affect the front. I think the front could look better. So I'm actually gonna go, I did this in my last example with this image down here that's already been edited. I went into the highlights and I did push them more towards blue because I just dragged and dropped like this, or dragged and then went towards blue. You can see it like go through all the different colors here, and it gets more intense when you go closer to the color or less intense when you go closer to the white. You can also reset by double clicking on it. Reset. Go over here, double click, reset. So pretty fun. All right, so we're gonna go towards blue, and right now it's like kind of warm. There's green in the stone as well, so I'm gonna make it a little bit more blue. Sometimes I like to get like really extreme and then make it less, because it's pretty minute, the details. It's hard to see. So maybe like that. And then let's see before and after from that. This. Yeah, it looks more closer to white, the stone here. And then from there, I think she could use some more red. But because this is red, as we learned in the presentation, this will also create a color cast. And you may see this in other areas of her. But also, just in general, like her skin tone is leaning towards red, and you'll notice that when I start bringing the saturation up. So I'm going to bring in the saturation. You can make it lighter or darker. I might just make the saturation more intense here. But like, for example, oops, if I were to bring the saturation all the way up, you can start seeing it in her skin. So don't go too intense. You always want to look at like where your shadows are or the skin color of someone. So you can kind of see the shadow has like a red tint happening because of the red dress. It's very minimal, but it's there. You can definitely see it like right here. You can see the red. That's the color cast reflecting off. So I feel like that looks pretty okay. I didn't go too extreme with the red, but I think this image overall could just still use like more contrast. And it does look very different from the other one that I did. This looks closer to white. Now it's like, yeah, two different, really different edits now that I see them side by side. Okay, this image is still looking kind of green to me now. So maybe I will increase the yellow just a little bit. Yeah, they're very different. Yeah, this image is difficult to edit just because it was not taken by me, and like it wasn't taken by you. It's an image online. Um, and yeah, it was like had this huge green cast over it, so that also creates some issues. But you can see the before and after. So we definitely just want to see like, is this green cast removed and how much? Do your best. Play with the different settings that we learned. Play with the color mixer, the tone curve, temp and tint, white balance. Okay, and then let's see, for this one, I'll just show you like where I selected for the white balance. So you want to choose a neutral area You can try here. I did the white of the dress, so try different areas. And then for this one, I selected this like brown area back here. You can also try to do this. Oops, sorry, let's not do before and after. I'm gonna reset this. All right, let's try here. Oh, okay, got it. So it prevents you from selecting white, which is great because it can't do that. It says it can't set the white balance here. Please click on a darker neutral area. So that's why I selected over here. Then it gets really, really cold, so you want to bring back that warmth. And then this one, this was how it was imported. If I grab the white balance here, you can see the before and after. It's a lot more warm, but more pink. So play with the different things here, the different settings. Um, what I thought was fun about this image is that you can change the color of the flower and the lipstick that's happening here with the different sliders for color mixing. So sometimes, like for example, this purple might not do what this purple does, or magenta. So even though it looks purple, it might be magenta. So play around with those as well. And then actually, you know what? Let me go back here. If I go to this import, I'm just wondering if I take this green and desaturate the green. Okay, no, it doesn't do what I want. Overall, it does not get to where, yeah, no. I was just thinking maybe that would get us to the correct tone um, that we might need, but it's only pulling from certain areas. I thought maybe it would get us to white balance territory, but it does not. So you can also just like white balance on your own, right? Like I greatly removed the green because I moved more towards cyan, or I'm sorry, I moved towards more to magenta, but you can do that here. Green, go to the X and Y axes, take that green out, same thing as temp and tint. It adjusts the colors differently. I would say it does a much better job at adjusting colors than temp and tint. It just seems way more dimensional. There's a lot more like different separation from the foreground, midground, background that's happening than if you were to just do temp and tint sliders here. So the look is really different. And maybe that's why this one and this one, they look so different when I edited them. But definitely want you to play around with the white balance tool and then, play around with these. So, okay, go ahead and have fun.